Hello and welcome. Streamy time. Streamy time. See everybody's popping in the chat already. I hope everybody is doing lovely on this fine Sunday morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. Chelsea drew Newcastle 2-2 away from home, which on the face of it is a completely fine result. Newcastle are a fine team. I think if I go by the XG table, Newcastle are considerably better than their league place. Yeah, like they're a solid team for sure. And a draw at St. James's Park is a solid result. Like I'm not mad about that on the face of it. When you dive into the nitty-gritty of that game, less good. Decidedly less good, I think. We're in like question mark territory. What my analogy of like the Assassin's Creed guy climbing up the alarm bell, like he maybe went a few more rungs up. Just like he's there. He's like not at the top with the bell, but he's like maybe halfway up the ladder now. Yeah, not great. Not great. A lot of comments about Morgan Rogers, who we're definitely going to talk about today, but we'll get the game stuff out of the way, and then we'll do questions. And I'm down, and we'll see how much stuff we get today. Given it'll be the last stream for like a month almost, so yeah, actually pretty close to a month. So Chelsea lined up with a lineup that I was actually pretty happy with the team. Sanchez and goal, Gusto, Fofana, Chalobah, Cucurella, that has like become the first choice back four. James, Caicedo as the pivot. Neto off the right, Garnacho off the left. The big difference here is Palmer starts instead of Enzo, which then means you don't have James at right back and Enzo deeper. But Enzo's been like real redlined lately in terms of minutes. So I think giving him a rest was totally fine. And then João Pedro is the 9. Chelsea started the game extremely badly. If you look at the like half splits, the first half was 2xG to 0.2. Like Chelsea created basically nothing in possession and gave up 6 big chances and a half, and now 2 of those come on the same possession string, blah, 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 blah. It was very bad. It was very, very, very bad. And it was bad in a very similar way to like Leeds, where Chelsea physically just did not cope with what they had to do, and how the opposition was going to approach the game. And this has been a Chelsea thing for like many years now, where in games against, I will call them rowdy away environments, Newcastle, Everton, Leeds, like real cauldrons, Chelsea just crumple. And I think the difference between this and Leeds and this and other poor performances is I think actually the approach in this game was wrong. I think tactically there were things that Maresca got wrong in the first half. Like, of course, the biggest thing is the play better adjustment, where in the second half Chelsea did just play better on every front. Technically, the execution was better. The ability to compete and win duels was better. All of those things were better in the second half. Number one adjustment, just play better. But I do think they fixed a lot of the in possession things that were a problem. So, like, for example, in the first half, you ended up with a lot of situations where Chelsea were going long into like not favorable 1v1s, and you just had no structure to collect second balls, and you'd end up with like they would go long while in the process of rotating James Lowe and blah, 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 blah. And like, you now just have totally vacated the middle and like, you're not getting anything out of it. It felt similar to the Leeds game where like, no, you have to ride out their really active player to player press early and then you can play. And when the press is so direct, super, super active, like I want to find Mr. McKenzie's tweet because he had something about that I saw that was like pressing or pinning versus baiting, that I saw him reply to someone. Yeah, here we go. Baiting, not pinning. So there's a conversation between him and Connor Holden. I think it's one of the things that Chelsea need to improve. I think a lot of the things Chelsea need to improve are much more on the attacking side of things, not the defending side of things. I think it is very much the in possession stuff that has faded for Chelsea this season, rather than the defensive stuff where, okay, Chelsea are not great defensively. There's a lot of red card noise in there, and then they're much higher on the XG stuff, but it's not linear like that. So we'll see. And then second half, Reece James pulled something out of nothing, and then João Pedro scores a nice transition goal. Other than that, Chelsea don't create a lot of like super high value shots. It's a lot of Garnacho creating stuff for himself in semi-transition, which is useful, but you probably need to turn that into more better stuff. And a lot of that is there's like a couple people who've said here in the chat, like João Pedro 5 shots in his last 5 league games is that good. Like this is the thing with João Pedro. Like, yes, he's good at dropping deep and linking play, but he then does not arrive to get shots in the box really at all. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to say. Tell me that doesn't remind you of every other Chelsea manager the year he got sacked. Defensive stuff is okay, but on the ball has gone to shit. I think that's a fair, and that was Bad Rabbits. I think that's a fair comment. I think Poch is not that. I think Poch, like the attack stayed strong the whole year. I think it was much more the defending was bad. I think that was the big Chelsea. It was unsustainable how Chelsea defended under Pochettino. But I don't know. I think looking at where Chelsea are at, I don't know. I don't know what to say. Also, a weird thing where, like, between Cardiff and this game, both games, I was vaguely okay with not making subs when you look at that bench. Also, like, not to be an asshole, right? But this is the bench for Chelsea, okay? First off, Newcastle didn't even name a full bench. That's crazy. Second, Chelsea have... Actually, I guess they did. They just made 2 more subs. 1, 2, 3, 4 defenders, 3 midfielders, 1 attacker. Just crazy for me that, like, Shimuka's not getting on the bench here. Or one of the academy attackers isn't getting on the bench here. Like, there's no world where all 4 of these guys come on. So you don't need all 4 of them. I don't know. That just irks me. Like, I'm fine with him not dressing Gittins because Gittins sucked. Gittins was so bad against Cardiff midweek. Sucked. Like, kick him out of the squad. That's fine. But, like, no George. Like, you're not going to do George over Hato or something. I don't know. I don't know. There's not enough shots in this team. which has just been a thing that's been a point of concern forever. Like 13 shots is not great in a game that you were losing for most of. And like, this is the thing. Everybody wants to be really critical about Garnacho. I want you to take Garnacho out and replace him with Gittins, and Gittins takes 1 shot in this game. Chelsea would put up 9 shots and lose. Like, it's just not... I don't know. It's just, there's not that much there. There's not that much there. And there's particularly, like, this has maybe, I don't know if it's under the radar because he's only been back for a few games, but, like, Palmer looks like not even close to fit. Like, he just creates nothing every game. Even the second half, when Chelsea were on top, he created 0 shots. I think he created 1 shot with a pass to Garnacho, but he took 0 shots and created 0 other shots. Like, he just doesn't move. He doesn't make runs beyond. He doesn't dribble past people. He's not like creating stuff. Like, if this is what he is post injury, like, it's very difficult, I think, for Chelsea to be the team that we thought they were going to be if Cole Palmer is just this. So we'll see. And like, being honest, let's look at the calendar. You play a week from yesterday, then you play 3 days later, then you play 4 days later, then you play 3 days later, then you play 3 days later, then you play 3 days later, then you play 4 days later, then you play 4 days later, then you play 4 days later, then you play 3 days later, then you play 3 days later, then you play 4 days later, then you play 4 days later, then you play 3 days later. For the next 6 weeks, you play every 3 days. So, like, you better figure some stuff out. Because if you don't, you are so fucked. Like, that is a... The difference between this year and last year is that if we go back, right, and look at last season, the holiday stretch, right, is Chelsea came into the holidays on like a huge winning run, right? Like, they'd won 6 in a row, 8 in a row, unbeaten in 11. Okay. They'd won 8 in a row and unbeaten in 11 going into it. And then you have this like bad stretch of draw, loss, draw, win, draw, right? And that's in the league. But you go 5 in the league without a win. And then you have another stretch where win, loss, win, loss. So like very poor stretch. But you had enough points on the board and in the bank that you were okay to hack that if you just came back to like a normal level, which Chelsea did, you would be fine. I think the problem with this year specifically is that Chelsea definitely don't have enough points on the board. They definitely do not have enough points on the board that if this next 6 weeks goes really badly, you're toast. You definitely don't have enough points on the board that if it goes badly, you're toast. The thing for Chelsea that I think is helpful is that the thing I think that's helpful for Chelsea is like, you've been here with a whole lot of injuries, and the injuries should in theory be less impactful in the back half of the season. It should be less impactful in the back half of the season. That I think is true. At the same time, Chelsea have a harder back half of the season. They haven't played very many away games against the top half. And like, that's kind of dumb because they've played Bournemouth away, who are a good team. They've played Spurs at home. They played Newcastle away. They played Brentford away. Like, they've played not insignificant games away from home. So we'll see. But yeah, I think it's a tough It's a tough stretch. Winning Evil says, I mean, last season we made top 4 because other teams threw it away. I don't agree with that. I don't really agree with that at all. Like, Chelsea were pretty comfortably better than all of those teams last year. And as much as, like, yeah, a bunch of teams didn't win on the final day, Chelsea still, they won all the games they had to win. You know what I mean? They won a bunch of games they should have won, and they won the games they were supposed to win. So it wasn't that weird that they did that. So I don't know. I don't know. Roshan says I mentioned this earlier, but having Estevao as a sub would have helped a lot. Yeah, for sure. And Estevao's like in a down patch, and it is what it is. Like, I think yes. JL2747 says, are we not comfortably better than most teams this year as well? And Winning Evil says comfortably better, yes, but other teams had opportunities to build the gap when we were shit. Forest and Villa also fell off. It's true, but Forest, like, shouldn't have even been in that conversation. I think the difference this year versus last year is that Chelsea are, like, definitely a top 4 level team, but they're not, like, if you look at the goal for this year, right? The goal for this year was Champions League consolidation. And I set the goal at 75 points. The reason I said 75 points in Champions League consolidation is that Chelsea were never realistically going to be in a title race. Like, they just didn't have enough talent. But I thought there were lots of worlds where they could take a small step and be like, yeah, we are comfortably better than everybody, the rest, in a way that, like, we're never really in a top 4 race. Like, we put up low to mid 70 points totals, and we get there, and we're so there that we're fine. That is kind of what I wanted from this season. And I think the reality is we're either as good as last year or a little bit worse. And a lot of that is no Palmer and the injuries and no Colwill. Like, Chelsea are undeniably in a better place this season with Colwill and Palmer fit for the whole year. But as Elliot Sherman says, there are a lot of worlds where a top 14 finishes 6th through 8th, and, like, that I think is fair. I think it's fair to say, like, Chelsea are not insulated from the variance of just a regular season going funky. So I think when you approach it from that lens, it's a little bit worrisome, is how I would frame it. But, like, I don't know, people talking about people talking about, like, Villa, right? Because Villa are on this, like, insane run of winning. It's going to be the same thing as last year with Forest, where, like, the whole year they're fake. And ultimate, like, the probability, like, if we go through these games and just the league games, the probability that you win 1-0, 0.8 to 1.2, 4-0, 1.7 to 1.6, 2-1, 1.6 to 1.6, 1-0, 0.9 to 0.4, 4-3, 2.3 to 1.9, 2-1, 2.1 to 1.9, 3-2, 0.7 to 1.0. Today, 2-1, 1 to 1.3. The probability that you win those is remarkably low. Like, astonishingly low. And they've been on this heater for, like, months. Again, there is just no, you can say you think Emi Martinez is the best goalkeeper in the world and Morgan Rogers is God himself, and it won't continue. It won't continue. I will say United, Chelsea, Arsenal, Forest, Palace, Spurs, Everton, Newcastle, that's a hell of a run to play in the most condensed time of the season. They go 0 for 6. Like, here's the thing. The way regression works, right, is regression works over an infinite amount of time. So when you have Villa, who are, their expected goal difference is -5, and their goal difference is +8. You don't expect them to like miss so many chances over the last 20 weeks of the season that they come down to -5. What you expect is that through 15 games, they've played like minus a third of an expected goal a game. So that over the last 20 games, they're going to end at something like -11. But because they're 13 ahead, they're going to finish at +2. So what you would expect over the rest of the season is that they would be like a -6 expected goal, a -6 goal difference team over the rest of the season. So like if they're 13 ahead, you expect them to be 0 the rest of the way. Like that is the regression happens over an infinite amount of time. It obviously doesn't actually work out like this. It oscillates and does the whole thing, but there are worlds, right? There are regression pathways where this is juxtaposed with loss, 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 loss. Like that could happen. Again, I think they're probably actually a little bit better than their underlying metrics. Like I don't think they're a negative expected goal difference team, but there are worlds where that happens, right? So Villa don't the thing with Villa that worries me is that like they have 36 from 17. They can put up 27 points from their remaining 19, which is like where Chelsea are, which is a little bit worse than where Chelsea are. And they'll be competitive for a Champions League spot because they have enough points on the board. But like Sunderland's not a thing. United are probably there or thereabouts. Palace are I don't think Champions League competitive, particularly as the Conference League goes on and they are less able to rotate full teams. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I would feel so much better if Chelsea had like 33 points. And I would feel so much worse if Chelsea had like 26 points. So I would say, I don't know. I'm curious what Opta have they projected at. And I'd be curious what the default lines are. Yeah, I mean, the betting markets still have it like even. Wow, they really have like the top 4 plus Villa, who just have so many points on the board, miles clear of everybody else. Which honestly I think is probably a fair way to view this. Like if you look at the table, Arsenal City definitely in. Liverpool Chelsea better than the rest, plus have points on the board. Villa have points on the board. I think that's probably a reasonable projection, actually. Where you look at like, excuse me. You look at like Liverpool, Chelsea, Villa are all vaguely 50%. And then it's like there is a chance from everybody else that one of those guys are out. Those odds are harsh on United. Maybe. I apologize. That sneeze was very loud. It might be harsh on United, but when they're like, they will today be 17, 26 points plus 3, plus 8 expected goal difference. And you look at like, they've racked up a lot of XGD in very specific games. Like they're +8. They're +8. And their whole expected goal difference is from like 3 games. So we'll see. ZZZ, has your model shifted Arsenal's title chance anyway, up or down? I haven't updated it since the transfer window ended. I have not touched the title probability model since then. I will probably after January. What I will say is the US is changing the tax law on gambling. So in the US, the way sports betting works or well, the way any gambling works, is you get to deduct your losses from your wins. So if you bet, let's say you bet on like coin flips, right, which are exactly 50-50 at some fake sports book that there's no vig, so it's exactly 50-50 payouts. And you bet $100 100 times on heads. 50% of the time you lose those bets, so you lose 50 times $100, so $5,000. And 50% of the time you win, so you win 10 grand, you win 10 grand back. And so you end up with the same amount of money you started with. So from a tax perspective, you deduct your losses from your winnings and you end up at zero, so you would pay no tax. Next year in the US, the rules are changing that you can only deduct 90% of your losses from your tax, which means if you have a year where you bet even, you actually will now owe a whole bunch of tax, particularly for people who bet on, for example, soccer. Like, you bet on a lot of games. So your edge might be really small, like your profit as a percentage is maybe not huge, but you bet a million games. And so at the end of the year, they're like, oh, you made so much money, even though as a percentage, you didn't make that much money. So the incentive for me to keep doing a lot of the modeling stuff is quite low now. So we'll see how much of that I end up doing in next year. JL says that United will be without Bruno. And Elliot Sherman says, why did they let him finish? Yeah, I was surprised they let him do anything with his hamstring and didn't just yank him. But I think, I think United losing Bruno is a big problem for them. And basically every time they have to play Ugarte is a problem. That guy is so bad. Holy smokes. I certainly love that they paid like mid-60s million and have him on a long contract. So we'll see. Trying to see if there's anything else that came up that people wanted to talk about. Elliot Sherman, can we please talk about the collective head loss from the Chalobah non-penalty that now guarantees we won't get a favorable call in January or in February? I could not believe that people were even remotely confused by the Chalobah penalty shout. It was not a penalty. It wasn't even close to a penalty. I thought it was just like a very strong challenge. Like, if that's a penalty, let's just close the game. Like, there's no point in talking about anything. Yeah. I don't know. Pano Footy says he has a new tinfoil hat theory that Tosin is being played, so we get a chunk for him in the summer to help with UEFA A squad costs, which I think Chalobah will move in the summer. But I don't think you had to play him. I think you could have just kept him and not played him and still made a small chunk. Yeah. I don't know. Ryan Islam says, anyone know why Esteval wasn't on the bench last game? I thought Maresca said he was back. Esteval had a knock. He'll be back for Villa. Is what it is. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. The only one that I thought was like maybe a penalty was the only one I thought was maybe a penalty was the Fofana handball, the like back heel into his hand. I thought it was close enough that I was like, I'm glad this is not a penalty. I think the Premier League has actually done a pretty good job of fixing their handball rules, where I think in the entirety of last season, there were 9 handball penalties. And the season before that, there were like 45, something like that. I thought that was, I think they've actually done a very good job to say, like, we don't want to give penalties for this stuff like where the ball hits their hand. Better says, did I mean Chalobah getting sold over the summer? Are we talking Tosin? Tosin, I think, goes in the summer. I think Chalobah will probably stay. But yeah, like I was glad the Fofana one didn't get called. I think one of the weird things that about the Premier League is like, I think this is going to be really bad. I think PGMOL is vaguely pointed in the right direction with, I think they're really trying to lean into, they really, really want to stop. They really want to stop the serious foul play Reds. Like they have been very hardline on what rises to the level of serious foul play. And I think that's probably good for the game. Like things like the Xavi Simons red, like that's a good red to call. Same with the Caicedo red against Arsenal. Like I think these are good reds. Like you actually don't want tackles like that at all. You don't want them anywhere near the game. And I think you're going to start seeing more things like that become red cards. Like the Estevao kick out in the first half against Bournemouth. I think in my like optimal rule set, that is a red card. I think that is a red card. But I think things that happen that aren't dangerous, I think they're trying to be a lot more lenient about. Like, again, the ball hits the hand in the box. The ball hits the hands in the box. Like, unless it is a handball, intentional handball, or like you are blocking, like, so the Fofana one, right? The Fofana one is an interesting one because it's a pass and there's proximity, it's not a penalty. But if that was a shot on goal, it would be a penalty. And I think that's correct. I think handballs blocking shots are very different than handballs blocking passes, crosses, dribbles, whatever, so on, so on, so on. Roshan says I'm a bit less harsh on the refs because the sports punishment systems are fundamentally flawed, so refs have to make judgment calls all the time. Still, prem refs can be hard to defend. I think it's very true that because the punishments fall into like 4 buckets, right? There is free kick, yellow card, red card, penalty. You end up with really awkward striations of like, well, this is a yellow card, but it probably doesn't get all the way to the red, and I don't have anything between those two. If you made me predict like a random rule change that I think will come in, it's that stopping a promising attack yellow, so like professional foul, pulling someone back on a counter, will get its own punishment where it will be a yellow card and you have to go off the field for 5 minutes and you have to play with 10 players. That's what I think will happen, is they will change the rules to more harshly punish that specific foul, where one of the things, this is going to be super, we're not even talking about Chelsea right now. This is going to be super left wing, super like left field for a minute. One of the things I have heard about the World Cup this summer is that FIFA are very meaningfully engaging with the other North American sports leagues to see what they can learn for the purposes of soccer in general. And so one of the things we have seen in the NFL and in the NBA in particular is that they have made rule changes for safety, and then they have made rule changes for the improvement of the product. So, for example, in the NBA, there is something called the take foul, okay? Or a clear path foul, where in European basketball, if someone is getting a transition, the most obvious thing to do is just like immediately wrap them up, stop the transition, take the tactical foul, because it's not a shot, so there's no like they don't get to shoot free throws, and you now get to defend a slowed down situation. It is the exact same thing as tactical fouling in soccer. And what the NBA has done is if you do a transition take foul, you get one shot and they get the ball back. And the equivalent of that, I think, for soccer is like you get a yellow card and you get and you have to play a player down for a short amount of time. So I think we will see things like that come into the league where like PGMOL can't differ that far from IFAB. So IFAB is like the FIFA rules body for the sport. So there are small things that they recommend to all the leagues, but you can't really differ that much from it. It's kind of not kosher to do so. But there are things like that I think work, that I think you will see football lean into a lot, where actually I think I tweeted this a few years ago and people got really mad about it, was like, if you view the referee as like the person who enforces the letter of the rule book, it's very hard for you to view them as doing a good job. But the reality is actually the referee is like the arbiter and maintainer of the spectacle of the game, where it's like, if people are playing too dangerously, I need to punish you so that you don't play dangerously. Or if you are cheating, I need to punish you so you stop cheating. But the reality is like, actually the goal of the referee is to make the best game possible. Or to allow the teams to make the best game possible. And so when you view it that way, I think you will see a lot of changes to how the games will be refereed. Brian Smith says, not the ref's fault we drew yesterday, but Newcastle stopped like 5 transitions and literally no card was shown. I think yesterday's game is the perfect example of some of the things that you will see change in the refereeing rules, where in the first half yesterday, for example, the first half was like not a fun game to watch. Like if you were a Newcastle fan, you'd be happy because you were winning, but it was not a good game to watch. Whereas the second half was a really good game to watch. Because it was very fast. It was very end to end. Every transition foul, lots of bookings. And then you see less transition fouls. Like if you think about, if you want the perfect example of how this rule works, Newcastle, so Andre Santos tries to stop a transition off of a corner by pulling a Newcastle player down off of the ball. He gets booked for it. I think it was a goal kick. Like Ramsdale went to take a goal kick quickly. And Santos pulls somebody down, gets a yellow card. Minutes later, Chelsea get a corner. Transition for Elanga. Caicedo, who has already been booked, cannot pull Elanga down at the halfway line in transition. So you end up with Elanga gets to run free because Caicedo is booked, because the referee has already established it will be a booking if you pull a player down off the ball to stop the transition. So he gets to run, and now you get this like very fun, exciting end-to-end moment that only happens because of the cards in that situation. I thought both the Chelsea-Newcastle game and the Liverpool-Spurs games were incredibly poorly officiated games because they did not hold the rules up enough for the game to happen the way it needs to. So I think you will see a lot of that change for next year. Yes, Caicedo was booked for sarcastically applauding, which is like the easiest way to get a dissent yellow. They hate it. Io says the Jacob Ramsey foul on Palmer when he spun him was ridiculous, and the referee went, yeah, no booking. Yeah, like that one for me was insane. There was a Ramsey one. There was a Schär one in the first half that I was like, that's just very clearly a yellow card. Bad Rabbit says, I think I've mentioned this before, but field hockey was But field hockey has a green card, which is awarded to a team rather than a player for a specific type of foul or foul on a specific player. That's just indicating the next one will be a yellow. Yeah, I think that's a fair. Yeah, I think stuff. I don't think you quite need stuff like that. Like, I think you can communicate that appropriately. I think you can communicate that appropriately without needing stuff like that. But I think there are certain things that should be very clearly punished. If you made me get real wacky, and you said 15 years from now, what crazy rule changes have happened? Like blue card, sin bin or whatever for tactical fouls and transitions is one. No headers outside of the 18-yard box is another. And they will change the offside rule to feet. So there's more goals. Those will be the 3 rules that I think will happen within, like, before I'm 50, 20 years. Yeah. Phil says, I find it funny that Newcastle do the extreme physicality gimmick and are surprised when they don't get soft pens. I like hate playing against Newcastle. They're one of my least favorite teams to play against. They're very frustrating. Elliot Sherman says, what about the Saliba foul on Barry in the box? Should that have been a pen? See, again, that's another one that I'm like, I'm happy with that as a no call. Because is it a foul? Yes. By the letter of the law, yes, it's a foul. But, like, Barry kicks the ball straight up in the air, which Saliba is also trying to do, and he hits the bottom of his foot. There's no advantage lost by Barry because he was just kicking the ball straight up into the air. What advantage did he lose? And it's not dangerous. He's not going to get hurt from it. Like, all of those things, like, I don't think I'm glad that was not given as a foul. We've talked about this a lot, but, like, the way penalty, like, the fact that the only punishment for a foul in the box is a penalty kick, is not. You end up with all these situations where we all have to agree, like, by the letter of the law, yes, that is a foul, but it is not a foul worthy of giving you a 75% chance of a goal. And so there needs to be like a better version of a penalty shot to I don't know, to more easily reflect that most fouls aren't stopping that level of danger. Yeah. ZZZ says they already play with no headers at youth level. Yeah, I think I don't know if this is true everywhere, but in a lot of places until like U12, you're not allowed to head the ball, or U10, you're not allowed to head the ball. But I think because, like, you don't want to take away crossing and headers, because that's, like, I think an important part of the game, and I think you would have very negative strategic consequences to no crossing and no headers. But I think having like some limit, so that, because the ones like crosses are actually not the ones you really want to avoid. It's the long punts into the air from the goalkeeper or from center backs that you want to avoid the headers on. Those are the ones that you have more problems with, and are also the vast majority of aerial duels. So it would also, like, think about it. It'd be so fun. You imagine, like, your time wasting, you go play a long goal kick and you've got, like, João Pedro jumping and trying to, like, shoulder it on. That'd be so fun. Or, like, you got guys trying to post up, take it on their chest with, like, center back on their back, but the center back is trying to get in front of him and, like, poke it with his feet. Like, it'd be pretty cool. It'd be pretty cool. Lord Flacco says Keanu Dyer went from sitting on the bench for 90 minutes to not even making the squad. Look, we knew this was a bad loan, right, from the start. But I would say, I will be honest, in that who knows how much of that is like it's a bad loan and they don't want to play him, and how much of it is maybe he's not settling as a young adult. Maybe he's having trouble adjusting up to being a pro with a senior first team where the expectations are different. Like, we don't know. Let's see. Again, I think momentum is a really important thing for a young pro in their development trajectory, right? Like, it's very good to have success into success into success than it is to have like good loan, bad loan, good loan, bad loan. Good loan, bad loan is how you end up doing nothing. Or it taking a lot of time to get you where you need to go. But I think I'd rather him have this bad loan here. You know what I mean? I think I'd rather him have the bad loan here now. And like, okay, you're 19. What do we need to figure out and learn about ourselves to get better here? Okay, couple questions in the chat arena. Nima Desfili says, if I was director, what would I do to win the Premier League next season in the summer? Okay, if I'm going to say you give me 250 million and I can do whatever I want, and I'll try and be realistic, right? I'll try and be realistic about what I can do with the team. Okay, let me think about who I want to shift out first, and let me open up Transfermarkt and see what I can do with these bodies, right? So I have a base budget of 250. Okay. So I'm going to start with here's what we're going to do. Here's what we're going to start with. Base budget. Okay? We're going to do this live. So I have 250 million. Outgoings, cost. Jorgensen is going, and I'm going to say I can get 15 million for him. I think you can do that. I'm moving on Jorgensen, and we're going to move him on, and I'm going to replace him with like a cheap backup. Ryan Islam says, no way we have a budget of 250. That's too high. I can't win it with less, I don't think. Because I need to spend like real money here to do this. And like we spend 400 million every year. So like, I don't know, who knows. I'm also going to move off Slanina, mostly for wages. I'm going to say I can move him to MLS for 1.5 mil. Some domestic team will buy him. So I've got 16.5 million. Wages, I don't know. I'm gonna have to pull up like here, wages. All right, we're gonna do this. This will be fun. 2.6 million and 2 million. So we'll call those 2.5 and 2. Okay. So we're on the way. We're on the way. Okay. Let's keep going down. I'm going to move Pedro Neto to Saudi. And I'm going to say I can get 60 million for him. I'm going to say I can get that. And part of why I want to move Neto, okay? And I don't think Neto's like Neto, I think is like a fine player to have around, but he makes a lot of money, right? So that's a thing to be mindful of. Part of why I don't want to move Neto is he's going to have been here for 2 years. He's going to have had 2 decent seasons, and he's going to say to himself, oh, I want an extension and a raise. And he's going to want more money. So he makes 8 million now. And like that's going to be a problem because he's going to want 10 million or 11 million. So I'm going to move off of him. Okay. We're also going to get off Sterling. I'm going to buy him out. and I'm going to offer him 75% of his wages to leave. So I'm just going to save a little bit of money. So he makes 16, I'm going to pay him 12. So I'm going to save 4 million in wages, 5 million in wages. Ryanism says, I don't want to sound pessimistic, but there's no way we get 15 for Jorgensen. I think you'd get 15 for Jorgensen pretty comfortably. And I think Neto, I'm selling Neto to Saudi here. I'm selling Neto to Saudi. So we're clearing up wage budget. We're clearing up space. We're going through. I'm keeping Enzo. I'm keeping James. I'm keeping Caicedo. I'm going to be that guy. In 1 year, I'm moving on Malo Gusto. I'm moving Gusto. I'm going to see if I can get 40 for him, but I'm going to take 35. I'm going to move on Gusto, and I'm going to explain why I'm moving on Malo Gusto, but I'm moving on Malo Gusto, and I'm clearing out his 2 million in wages. Okay? So I've already cleared up another 100 million, and I've already cleared like almost 20 million in wages. So we're rolling here. We're rolling here. So I'm getting through the team. Okay? And I'm clearing out minutes. I'm keeping Fofana. I'm keeping Garnacho. I'm keeping Esteval. Liam Delap, you're going. I'm sorry, you're going. I'm moving you for exactly what we paid for you to West Ham. Get out of here. Where are you, Liam Delap? Where are you? Where'd you go? Well, how much did we pay? Come on. I need Transfer Market to load if I'm going to do this. So Delap is going to West Ham. We're clearing out some wages. 35, okay? We're going to move him also for 35. Okay, I'm going to clear out his wages of 5 million. And we're making movement. It was 35 million euros, so 30 million pounds. 30 million pounds, thank you. And I'm definitely being fugazi with my use of pounds and euros here. I'm definitely being fugazi here, but that's fine. Tosin, you're gone. I think we can get like 13 for Tosin. So Tosin's going, and I'm clearing up his 6 million in wages. Okay. So like we're really trimming the squad here. Okay. Cole's staying, Andre's staying. JBG is going on loan. I don't care where, but he's not coming here. Where are you getting? So where's your number? 6 million. And I'm clearing his 6 million on loan. We're gonna get a 3 million loan fee. We're getting a 3 million loan fee, which is gonna cover some of his amortization, and we're gonna get his full wages covered. Okay. So we're cooking. We're moving along. Josh is staying. Hato is staying, which I don't love. Barishile is staying. Guiu is going on loan for a small loan fee and 2.6 million. So I'm going to call it 1 million, 2.5 covered. That's also a loan. Okay. Vassarot says JBG is not going on loan. Well, I'm the director, so I can do whatever I want in this situation. But Gittins is going on loan. Vassarot says, do you want to get us relegated? No. This is my plan to win the league. Lavia, also going on loan. 1, because he needs to play. 2, because he's a myth. And I just don't want him here. 2.3 million in wages. And we're getting a small loan fee for him. Lavia also going on loan. Buonanotte, goodbye. I'm not doing anything with you, so I'll clear out your 1.3. Good night. No loan. No fee. Goodbye. If you made me like pick clubs, Gittins is gonna go to like Everton. He's gonna go to Everton when they can't buy Jack Grealish. Guiu is gonna go on loan to Strasbourg after we buy Amiga, because Amiga's coming in, right? Incomings. Lavia is going to go on loan to like Palace after they lose Wharton. And then Goodnight goes back to Brighton, and I don't care what he does. Tyreek George is going to be sold, unfortunately. Okay. And he's going to be sold for $25 million. And his $500,000 in wages. And he's going to be sold to Bournemouth to replace Semenyo. Okay. And then that's it for first team guys. And then who do we got that I'm missing? We have Disasi, who's going to go for 20, I think. Where is Axel Disasi? And he makes $4 million. And Disasi is going to go to somewhere in Syria. So, and now I'm going to clear out. I want to win the title this year. So I got to go look at the Chelsea loanees and see what loanees I'm getting rid of as well. Jackson is coming back. Sarr is gone. And I think we can flip Sarr for profit for what we paid. So we paid 14. I think we can get like 18 million for him. I don't know how much his wages are. They're probably not being paid by Chelsea. And I'm going to say we sell him to like Fulham. I think it's a Premier League sale. Okay, so Sarr is gone. We make a small profit. Penders we keep. I'm going to cash in on Anselmino because I really want to win the league this year. And I don't think he's that good. So I'm going to say we sell him for like slightly above what we paid. I don't think we're paying his wages. And I'm going to say Dortmund buy him. I talked Dortmund into buying him. Okay, we're there. Who else we got? Pais can stay. Wiley can go. Wiley, we make a loss. We sell him back to MLS. We're probably not paying his wage as well. He can go back to MLS. I don't care. And Datro Fofana, we move for $5 million. We're probably not paying his wages. And he goes to like Venezia or something. He goes Syria. Okay, I think that's it. I think that's all my guys that I'm willing to cash in on here. Okay. The other guys I'm doing on loan. Muka is going on loan for a small loan fee and his wages covered. And he's going to go to someone in the championship. And who else is like on the older end of the U21s? Who else can I do here? I'm very curious who you guys think I'm going to get now. Because I have a plan. I know who I want. I know the names I want. Who's on the older end here that like can go on loan that I can make a bit of money on? Whatever. Oh, Washington. Yeah, we're clearing out David. David is going. He's getting sold for like $6 million to nobody. He's getting $6 million to nobody. How much do you make, David? Because I bet you it's a big number. Where are you, David? Also, like, if you ever wanted proof that like the numbers here are bollocks, Caleb Wiley's on 160 grand. That's less money than he made in MLS. Okay. That's less than he made in MLS. So, yeah, have fun with that one. Okay. Where's David Washington's wages? Is he not even on the first team page anymore? Because that's really funny if true. Wages. 2 million. Okay. Let's just roll with the 2 million number. Literally anywhere. And then who else? Kellyman. But like Kellyman, you're gonna bank a loss on. So like I'm not gonna do it. Whatever. Kellyman can stay. He can survive the call. Okay, so what do we get here? We also get 250 million in sales, and we clear 50 million in wage budget. So we now have 263.5 sales, new wages freed. Okay. 50. So I now have, nope, try one more, Google Sheets. I now have, nope, try again. Oh, because it's not a number. 560 million in new dollars. Okay? New pounds to work with. However, I need to do a couple things. I need to get a couple positions. Okay? This is how much I got. I'm also going to include the wages in this. I'm going to include 1 year of the wage cost in this. So first incoming, Morgan Rogers, 350 million fee and 45 million a year. Oh, I got to make sure this is off. And so we're going to do this number plus this number divided by 5. Okay, I'm done. That's the win. That's the league done. What do you guys think? That's the league sorted. Yeah, I think, let me update my model. And I have 118 points. Let me hold on. Let me do this model properly. Equals if bracket equals Morgan Rogers 118 else 65. Oh fuck, it's okay, it's 100. It was, so we win the title. But if we get Mbappe, we don't win the title. We don't win the title. No, okay. Let me do this seriously though. So, oh, let me do this seriously though. Can you imagine if that was all the bit and I was just gonna walk away and go do something else now? If I just walked for 20 minutes, I walked you through all of this, and then I was just ready to go. Can you imagine? CFCSC says, just catching up to earlier part of the podcast, regression doesn't have to happen this season. Yeah, no, you're not wrong. And I think I said, like, that can happen over the course of 2 years, right? So, okay. Now, on the actuals here. So, from an incoming perspective, right? Let me do this here. So, position needs. Okay, what do I need based on what I think Chelsea's team needs, and based on what I think, and then what we just lost. So, I need a backup goalkeeper. And let me just say what I want. I want them to be domestic. I want them to be free. And I want career backup. I want someone who's like totally fine to do that thing. And I can tell you that number one on my list is maybe Sam Johnston, who's like probably bad. Let me like I want yeah, I like I'm just gonna pick Sam Johnson because like I don't think he's that bad. Wolves will get relegated. They'll probably keep him though. They'll probably keep him though. Like what's like John Ruddy saying these days? He's got to be like retired and old now. He's a backup at Newcastle. What's his advance? Yeah, like not even that bad. Like I'm just gonna say Sam Johnson because it's an easy number. And I'm gonna say he's not gonna take a pay cut though. It's gonna be the same number. Whatever. I'm gonna say Sam Johnson because I can, and I'm gonna say we get him for like. Io says Freddie Woodman or Nick Pope. Freddie Woodman would be an interesting one. He's at Liverpool though, right? Didn't they sign him again this summer? Yeah. Freddie Woodman has the nice thing of being club trained for them, I believe. No? I don't know. Yeah, like someone like that. So maybe I go get a championship goalkeeper. Like here, if I just go to the championship and let's just go squad and player stats, advanced goalkeeping, 90s. And I need someone older. Like Lawrence Vigouroux. But he's playing enough. Like I need someone who doesn't play that much. But like Lawrence Vigouroux is like club. Actually, this is a perfect one. Contract up in the summer. He's like an average goalkeeper. He's nation trained. So I'm just gonna say Lawrence Vigouroux, and we do whatever we want. Lawrence Vigouroux 0. And oh yeah, Penders is going on loan too. I forgot about him. Thank you, whoever said that. But that we're not getting anything. We'll just get his wages covered. He's going back. Yeah. Who? Oh, Ishe. Ishe can go. He's going for 7. We clear his wages. I don't care. So this is actually like 270, and this is like 52. There we go. I needed more. I'm just gonna pick Lawrence Vigouroux, but like, there's a million guys here. All they have to be is club trained, in their 30s, and like sure, this guy Christian Walton at Ipswich. He's played half of the games. Yeah, he was like kind of bad. Sure. I thought Ishe was sold to Strasbourg. He was sold to Strasbourg and then he was sold back. So somebody said Nathan Baxter. Like, yeah, Nathan Baxter would be a great name. He is like young enough though and plays a lot at. Actually, he's not playing that much, but he has played a lot in the past. Yeah, sure. I'd take Nathan Baxter. He's not playing that much. Sure. Let's make it a club affair. We get club trained as well. We'll get Nathan Baxter, and we're gonna pay him. I don't know. We're gonna pay him 1.5 million a year. Nimadez Philly says we're spending way too much time in the backup goalkeeper. Sure, you're not wrong. Leftover. Okay, so here's our leftover budget equals this number minus this number. Okay, so I have 572 million left. We're good. Pano, thank you for shouting Nathan Baxter. Perfect example. Okay, so some things that are going to happen to the squad. Okay, here's how we're gonna Here's how we're going to do this. I'm going to get rid of the club thing because you don't need to see it, so I can have extra space and stay zoomed in, okay? So we're going to have Sanchez and Baxter. At right back, we're going to rock James full-time right back. Josh is going to be his backup. And then third choice is going to be Trev at right back. Okay? So we've got the three of them. Part of why I am doing this is because we are going to commit that in this Maresca back three, because I'm not firing Maresca. Director Kieran is not firing the Maresca in this situation. Is we are keeping the right back is primarily going to be the one who becomes the center back, and we're gonna roll with that. I think in some situations James is fit enough now that maybe he can. And the other option I will say is Genesis Antwi is still there. So, like, I'm going to say Trev/Antwi, and we'll see what happens. But if I'm going to win the league, I got to take risks. At center back, on the right, I'm rolling Fofana, and I'm rolling Trev, and I'm rolling Josh. And at left center back, I'm rolling Colwill, I'm rolling Benoit, and I'm rolling Hato. And like, yeah, somebody said you have Caicedo, who can play right back as well. Like, yeah, we have cover there, right? Like, this is where I'm saying I'm not buying a right back. And then at left back, I'm rolling Cucurella, and I'm rolling Hato. And I will revisit this later, depending where my budget is at, and see, do I want to go get like a proper, like real attacking threat left back? Like, do I want to go get a Lewis Hall? Or do I want to go get somebody else? So I'm just going to leave that there. Okay. At DM, we're keeping Moy. At CM, we're keeping Enzo. At AM, you'll see. At right wing, it's Palmer. It's Esteval. It's Kenda. At left wing, it's Garnacho. It's Kenda, as is. Okay. And we've got Andre. We've got Asugo. And that's kind of where we're at squad-wise, right? And like nominally, this is Palmer too. So whatever. So we've got lots of guys here. And then we have Jackson and we have JP. Okay, so this is where we're at. I also need to subtract Jackson's wages. So I'm just gonna call this like, I'm gonna call this 45 because Jackson has money. It, like, counts as money in this. So I'm going to say that. So what do we need looking at this? Well, one, we definitely need to upgrade at left winger. I think with this midfield core, you need two legit midfielders of two different profiles. I think you need another serious 9. And we have Amiga here, right? Which is maybe enough. And then we got to figure out some other stuff. So, first profile that I'm spending legit money on is I want a true sitter 6 who doesn't move, who anchors, who, like, in a lot of games, they can be the big guy who sits in front of the back 4 and receives an open play. So, like, what do they have to be? They have to be very large. They have to be able to pass. They have to be able to specifically pass forward. They have to be able to dribble a little bit. They have to be able to cover into the center back spots. Like, the list of guys is not super long. You guys have probably figured out where I'm going with this right now. But I'm looking at Amadou Onana. That's kind of my number one guy that I'm looking at here. I'm looking at Onana. I'm looking at like what if City were like, we don't love Nico Gonzalez. What if like if I was being really cheap, it would be like a better version of Ethan Ampadu. Like that's kind of the player I'm thinking about. But I think the player I'm going to go get in this space where I have so much money is I'm going to go get Tchouaméni off of Madrid's hands. I'm going to go get Tchouaméni. And I'm going to say, okay, what's the number? I'm going to go get Tchouaméni. And I'm going to say the fee is like... So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to use objectively 1.5 times whatever transfer market says. Okay? So transfer market says 75. So 1.5 of that is 110 euros to GBP. So 110. I'm paying 95. Okay? So I'm getting Tchouaméni. And this is like passing plus physicality plus ball winning. And I'm getting the Chew boy. And I'm spending 95 million. I'll say 90. Jimothy says not loaning Kenda. I'm going to talk about why I'm not loaning Kenda in a little bit because he could play a lot. Well, really, the reason on Kenda specifically is he can play both sides and he can play fullback and he can play wingback. So like Kenda, like the sneaky thing here is like Kenda's going to play a bunch of left back for me because I think long term he's going to be a better left back than he is winger. And so my like director brain here, Kenda's the left back and he's gonna play some. So I'm going and getting the boy Chew. He is making 240 million. So let me go to Real Madrid. Let me go to their wages. What's that in pounds? So he makes 11 million pounds. I bet you I could get him for the same wages. I bet you I could get him for similar wages. So I'm going to say 12, okay? I'm going to say 12. I'm going to say we give him a small raise, okay? So we're here. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it this way so we can see my money go as it goes. And then you are going to be this number minus this number. Okay, so I've got Tchouaméni. I've got my guy. Okay, there's my DMCM. Now, I need a second midfielder, and so let me go update my list. Tchouaméni. Asugo is now my third choice defensive midfielder who I have options for. Okay. But like I'm building a real midfield here. Right? I'm building a real midfield here. Oh, I keep doing the Windows pasting. Okay. So I got my boy Tchouaméni. This is my guy. This is my one. Now I need a second midfielder who I want to be like a real bad man. No, I want like a guy who's going to give me goals. I want a guy who can do a bit of ball winning, but it's not the most important thing. But I'm like, I want a lot of passing. I want a good presser. I want goals. Those are the things here. So like if I just go look at Enzo Fernandez as a start, like if you give me a second Enzo Fernandez, I'm really happy. Like Odegaard was the player who was on my brain, right? So like okay, who are we talking about? If I start with like Odegaard, Foden, Enzo, like is Amiri a guy for me? He's probably too old. Barella would be interesting. Probably too old. I would love Bruno Fernandes, but again, too old. Baina. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't have a good. I don't have a good name here. I don't have a good name here, but this is the profile I want. It's like I want some goals. I want some shot creation. I want some shot creation. I don't have a name. Okay, that's the first time pass. Oh, actually, this is probably the guy. It's probably Danny Olmo. Because Danny Olmo, I think, is like actually probably very gettable for this price. Yeah, Odegaard. This Romano Schmid guy keeps coming up. Who are you? 25? A lot of penalties. XA looks really good. He's small, though. And it's Bundesliga, and it's much more 10 winger than it is 8. Yeah, that's probably not the one, but... Fermin Lopez. Nimedes Felice's injury. Danny Olmo's interesting. He's just like a little bit older than I would want now, but I bet you you could do Olmo pretty cheaply. Ryan Islam says Mainu. Mainu to me, like Mainu I think is interesting as like a theoretical guy, but he's not the one. He's not the one for me. Like the funny thing is, for the profile I want here, like Rodgers is actually not the worst option in the world. It's not going to be the guy, but it's more like Schaub. Like Olmo is interesting. I wonder. I got a lot of money on the table, guys. I got a lot of money on the table. Liverpool just spent so much money on strikers. I got a lot of money on the table. Like, what if I go give 100 million for Schaub? Are they gonna say no? Are Liverpool gonna? If I go to Liverpool and say Dominic Szoboszlai, I'm gonna double your money. I'm gonna double it. You're 25. I'm gonna double it. I'm gonna double it, and I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna double your wages. I'm gonna pay 100 million. Am I crazy? No, I don't think this is one you could do. I think they would just say no. I think there's no number that they would move him at. So now I'm in a weird spot. Sam Wright says, why spend that much there, though? Why? So this is a fair question, right? So if we look at it, my midfield is like pretty stacked, right? Like I have Moy, I have Tchouameni, I have Enzo, I have Palmer. Like that's 4 legit superstar midfielders all the time. Okay? That is 4 legit superstar midfielders. So it's fair to say, well, why do you want a 5th for huge money? And I think the answer is that Chelsea are going to have to play 60 games, and that we have seen very clearly that, like, if you just roll with your best players in depth, that eventually you don't feel the depth is good enough, so you keep playing the best players. And so I am inclined to say I want one more legit very good midfielder so that I have 6 really good midfielders and I can sub everybody every game and we can play at a stupid pace. Winning Evil says, does Tchouaméni come here to hold bench though? He's going to play more than he plays at Madrid. So we'll see. Firmino is interesting because Firmino is interesting to me because he's a good presser, but he's low minutes, and he's more 10 winger than he is 8. But his contract's not crazy. Elliot Sherman says, I would like a third source of goals besides Palmer Jackson. Don't worry, we're getting there. We're buying another striker. I can tell you right now. We're buying another striker, and we're buying a legit left winger. I can tell you with 100% certainty that these next 2 guys, like, I can tell you we're not going to use the whole 470 here, but I can tell you these 2 guys are a left winger and a striker. Ugh. So, like, if we say Schwab is too unrealistic, Paz is not happening, and he's 210 winger as well. But he's there. He's pretty close. He's pretty close. And he's just going to go back to Madrid. So, like, it's not going to happen. No, it's not him. It's not him. I mean, Akliush is pretty interesting. But, like, there's probably not enough mid... Like, this is the thing, is it's got to be central guys. Like, I don't want wingers moved inside. I want central guys. So, like, when I look at Akliush, like, he's too small, and he's much more winger coded for me. Farzan Rahmani says, what about Gallagher? Like, Gallagher would, in my real life, like, what I would do, what I think Chelsea should do in the more realistic confines of this, like, Gallagher would be, I would explore it. This is a name that would be very interesting. It's not quite the profile I was thinking about. JL27 says Mason Mount, not going to lie. Mount would be very, very cool on my list. All right. I'm going to go... What is his name? Pavel Sulk. Is this the guy at Inter? The Croatian guy? Leon. Whoa, that's a lot of goals. Whoa, this is funny. Very behind his XG, and then very ahead of his XG, but it comes out to about even. No, there's not enough passing here, and he's too far forward. Like, these are all, like, he's much more 10 winger. No, not the profile. Not the profile. Mount is, like, who I would like, but he's too expensive and like, too injury prone at this point. Like, he's not the one. Okay, 2 I'm going to file you away. Kamara, no, you're too old and haven't proven it at this level. No. Fernand, no, not enough. No, Cunha is much more 10 winger. Again, not like, I want much more 8 who scores goals. Like, Wharton, we should probably just take a look at Wharton. But Wharton, because, like, you could say Wharton deeper, you push Andre into the box more. I think the thing with Wharton, ultimately, is that he's not going to be worth what you pay at all. Like, you're not going to get good value from that deal because Premier League teams are too rich. So, like, the fee is going to be all of the money. Like, Wharton would be interesting, though. Petr at Inter. This is who I was thinking of when somebody said Pavel Sulk or whatever. Yeah, like this is actually the one. This is the one, and this is the guy. This is the guy. We're gonna do it early, and I'm gonna feel good about it, and we're gonna do it early. Unless somebody else pops here that I'm like, I don't know. You know what? Quarter of an expected goal guy, third of an expected goal guy in Belgium. He's the right age profile. 2 shots from midfield. Not great passing numbers, but big ball winning numbers for some pretty ropey Gladbach teams. He's small. He's way too small. He's way too small. And who is the other one? Uadrogo from Leipzig. Where is he? Asan Uadraogo. Holy smokes. Holy smokes. My God. Is that real? Is he playing in midfield there? Or is he playing as a, like, is this 4-3-3 8 stuff? It's not huge minutes. Okay, hold on. Let's get it. What's his name? Asan Uadraogo. All right, let's see. No, that's too loud. All right, we're watching some video. I haven't seen this guy before. I don't watch a lot of Bundesliga. Let's watch. This is how Kieran's directorship works, okay? We watch YouTube highlight comps and we look at FB ref and that's it. We don't scout. We don't watch video. Zorks just brought up Elliot Anderson, who, by the way, we should talk about. That's another one. All right, let's see. I want central ball carrier, I want passing, and I want shot creation. And that's what we got. Okay? I want central ball carrying, I want passing, and I want shot creation. And in an ideal world, they're a lefty. In an ideal world, they're a lefty. Oh, wow. Sorry, Austin said I'm on headphones and I got jump scared. Yeah, that was very loud. I apologize. This video is like a little bit too 10-y for me so far, and there's a lot of like wide reception stuff, but you know what? He was at Schalke before Leipzig. There's a lot to like here. I can't lie to you. There's a lot to like here. I cannot lie to you. Like, this is the stuff I want. This stuff where he's like, this is the stuff I want, where it's like, not this, the clip before, where it's like, yeah, here, right channel, half space, drive central. That's the stuff I really, really want to see. Yeah, this is interesting. All right, hold on. We're diving deeper here. Somebody says, I thought Red Bull, Winning Evil says, I thought Red Bull players were a red flag. Red Bull attackers are a red flag. Midfielders, I am interested. Like Schaub I was so high on Schaub. So high on Szoboszlai. He's really picked it up the last couple weeks. There's not a lot. I was thinking Gravenberch. No, Gravenberch is not the one for me. I've narrowed it down to 4, okay? My short list of 4 is Sucic, Thuram, Lopez, and Ouedraogo. I'm kind of leaning just off the rip for Sucic because I think he's like the most realistic price-wise here. And Thuram is also very interesting though. But like the passing numbers aren't huge and the attacking numbers are good but not great. And I don't know. Comster says Curtis Jones. Curtis Jones is interesting to me. Let's watch some Petr Sucic. Sucic I've actually watched a lot of before he moved to Inter. I watched a lot of before he moved to Inter. Let's watch some Sucic. I will say the winger and striker conversation is going to be way shorter because I know who I want already. So like we can take some time here in our theoretical rebuild. Yeah, like this is more like I want this guy to get shots. But I want them to be able to pass and like receive from the center backs and play out and like do all the like yes, the shot getting and stuff matters to me, but it matters as much as other things. So like would Inter sell after a year? The Serie A teams always sell. They're not rich enough to say no. And they didn't pay a huge fee, so you could like be like, hey, here's a nice profit right now. Yeah, see like jumping high for ball winning, like I'm kind of into. Yeah, like this is more the profile on video of what I am thinking for this role. Elliot Sherman says, can you afford to gamble here because he's not going to be the main guy? To me, the thing that I actually think I can gamble more is that I have Enzo Fernandez. So like they don't have to be the main guy. If they end up just being very good backup, that's fine. That's fine to me. Yeah, Sucic might be the guy. Like this Ouedraogo guy looked nasty, but that was more like 10 winger skill set than whatever. People keep saying Kang-in Lee. I'll look him up after this video, but I don't think Kang-in Lee is like really the guy you want here. Yeah, like this there's a lot I like here, man. Again, like he's not like there's clips of him getting in the box and scoring goals and taking shots, which matters, but it's much more like 8 pass ball win press evade. Yeah, I don't really care about the Croatian league highlights at all. Whew. My goodness. Yeah, like this stuff the eight stuff is really moving me here. All right, I'm fine. Okay, what I want to see though is I want to see his stuff from Inter only. I want to see his stuff from Inter only. Elliot Sherman was saying this is a spot that does make sense to take a risk. Oh, I definitely read that wrong. You're right. Yeah, I agree with you. Comster says Sergey Milinkovic Savage. Yeah, that's like a similar profile to what I'm thinking of. I want like this month. Really nothing, eh? Maybe not this month. Maybe like this year. Can I sort by most recent? Okay, I'll just kill myself, I guess. Yeah, I want something from just his Inter stuff. All right, so I like this here. AAA says absolute car crash of a window. To be fair, Palmer right wing with no width whatsoever, no ball carrier in midfield. Well, how about it's my window, so I can do whatever I want. Petar Sucic. What is this? No one has the eye anymore. Again, if you are real, and I'm going to say this, I don't know who this person is. They don't follow me, so I don't know. I'm just going to keep saying it to them. If you think you have the eye, go beat the betting market. And I guarantee you, if I open his Bet365 account, he loses money every weekend. If you have the eye, go beat the betting market. You should be able to predict who wins and who scores goals more than everybody else. And you can't. That's all I have to say about this. Go prove that you can make money. Petar Sucic. Media. I gotta find a nice long video. What is this? I'm worried about no, not available, so that's... There's no comms. There's nothing from this year. Okay, all right. I'm fine with the video we saw so far, though. So I'm going to put him there. Fermin, I think, is like a little bit more 10 winger than what I want. Let's watch some Kefren Turam video. Let's watch some Kefren Turam video and see what I think. Let's watch some Kefren Turam video. I don't think this is going to be the guy, but I don't think this is going to be the guy, but it might be. This is like the most zoomed in compilation I've ever seen. I'm not feeling this, to be honest with you. I'm not feeling this. Let's see before Juve. Oh, this is all Juve stuff. Has he been at Juve for 2 seasons now? Oh, I didn't realize he was there last year. Oh, that's gross. Holy. Jim James says Samardzic. Yeah, I'll look up Samardzic after this. That's filth. Oh, that's real nasty. Yeah, see, like this is a lot of the stuff. Like I'm more like 880, like 8 position stuff. Okay, I get it. He scored this goal and it hit the post and then hit the keeper. I get it. Yeah, like get in the box. More box crashy. Hmm. I'm gonna cop out. I'm gonna cop out, and here's what I'm gonna do. Shot creation plus passing plus carrying plus some ball winning. Okay, and I'm gonna say Turam / Sucic / Lopez / Uadraogo, and I'm gonna say I'm just gonna put it at 60, and I'm gonna say 5 mil a year, and I'm just gonna leave it as like very vague like that, so we can move on and talk about some other positions. I will look up Samardzic, who I have not watched very much of. No, I don't think there's not enough shot creation, and 210. No, 210 for sure, and then Manzambi. This is an interesting profile. This is a very interesting profile. Yeah. Consider me curious. I'd put him on my curious list. But I'm going to move on. Superstar left wing scorer. There is one name going on the list. It is a man by the name of Bradley Barcola. And he's very good. Somebody said he's a bad finisher. He's ahead of his XG, so that's funny in the league. I am going to get Bradley Barcola, and I am spending so much money to get him. I'm gonna say let's go to the old transfer market. We'll follow the same rules as before. Okay, well that's probably too low. I mean maybe not. He's got a short contract. So 110 was 95. I'll say 90. He makes 140K a week, which is wages. What's that in pounds monthly? He makes £6 million. So I'm going to say we double it. Winning Evil says Barcola finishing, I don't know, but he misses a lot of chances a la Garnacho. Listen, the thing for me is I don't care that much about finishing. So, like, we're going to do some math here, okay? And I'm just going to do a very illustrative example. Finishing skill, XG, goals, okay? And there's 2 players here, okay? We're going to do the math on this. So 99% of players for their career fall between 1.1 and 0.9 when you take their goals divided by their XG. Okay? 1.1 and 0.9. So player 1 is a 99th percentile finisher, and player 2 is a first percentile finisher. So they're as bad as it can possibly get. Okay? Now, the problem with this is that those are actually not huge magnitudes. Like the difference between a top finisher and a small finisher is not huge, right? If every single finisher is between 1.1 and 0.9, like the whole spread is very small. But the spread on XG generation from attacking players is huge. Huge, 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 huge. So when you think about this, right? If I have this player who is an amazing finisher, but he only puts up 0.4 XG, right? He's like the best finisher ever. And I have a player who's the worst finisher ever. And he gets 0.5 XG. He scores more goals by taking one more shot a game, one more, not even that good shot a game. And so now when you talk about like Morgan Rogers, for example, if I say Morgan Rogers is a 99th percentile finisher, he's one of the best finishers of all time, but he's like a 0.3 XG per game guy. I'd rather just go get the 0.5 XG per game guy, even if he's a bad finisher. If he's a normal finisher, then great. It's not even close. And so that, I think, is like, I just don't care. The magnitude that finishing can be impactful is so small. It's so small. So, like, when I get tweets like this, I don't care. I really, truly don't care. So, I don't know. That is what it is, man. And like, by the way, the second goal, honking goalkeeping. So let's put that aside. Winning Evil says, someone who's that good a finisher, don't you think would end up in situations where they put up higher XG a game? Players pass them more. They put themselves in these situations. Generally, so okay, let me rephrase. So one of the things that is particularly interesting about the way XG models are calculated is that they are across all of the players. And one of the things that's interesting about those is there actually is some good literature showing that if you just close your eyes and bucket positionally, defender, midfielder, attacker, that on average, attackers are better finishers than defenders, right? Which is like a thing we all obviously agree with, that attackers are on average better finishers than defenders. And what happens is that because attackers are actually a huge chunk of all the shots that are taken, the XG models shift up in terms of ability. So when they're like, well, the models don't know who's shooting it. Well, actually, no, they do. Like, the players who shoot the most are the biggest percentage of the model. Like, that is explicitly how that works. Like, I'll tell you, we have had MLS seasons that have like 12,000 shots or something. And there are players who one player by themselves is like 3% of the whole model or whatever. And it's just not, it's a thing. So in terms of like, can they scale up and play better? Yeah, there are for sure players we have seen who hit a hot finishing run, and then do, because of that, like, are afforded opportunities because of the finish run, and then they improve to match their metrics. There's actually a I'm gonna find it. We did a young players. We did a post many years ago, and I don't know what it was titled. It was Elliot wrote it though. I gotta find it. Yeah, here we go. Coaches reward goal scorers. This is what it was. So the idea was that young players who score on their debut are afforded many more opportunities than young players who don't score on their debut. But even if the players who don't score played way better, like they created more chances, they had better games by all the metrics, but didn't score, even if those players are better, coaches are more likely to play the other one. Again, whatever. Finding good shots is a more valuable skill than finishing them, so on, so on, so on. But they basically showed that if you look, yeah, here we go. So if you got a 0.3 XG shot versus you scored a 0.3 XG shot, you were somewhat more likely to play more minutes the next game than if you hadn't missed it. And that it was much more pronounced for young players than it was for older players. So it is. And then even also, if you score low volume shots, you're more likely to play the next game than if you hadn't played the game before. So like, yes, it is 100% a thing that they get afforded opportunities. And then some of those players improve, right? It is true that there are players who have bad data and then they get better and then their data is better. Like that is a thing that happens, right? What I will say to you is the number of players who have bad data and then get better and then have good data when they're 24 is not super high. So like if I take Rodgers, right? And let me be like very explicit about what I think about Rodgers, because I think I'm fairly hyperbolic and I like laugh and joke around and I'm like too negative. Like I sound more negative than I actually am. I think Rodgers is an interesting player because he's very large. He carries the ball quite well through the middle of the pitch. Aesthetically, there's a lot to like there. And do I think some of the things he does would scale to a bigger team? Yes. Do I also think he benefits from the way Villa play and that he gets a lot of like transition runs? Also, yes. My biggest objection to Rodgers, beyond the fact that like, again, he's finishing very hot. Like today he put up like 0.3 XG or something and scored another 2 goals. So he's going to have 7 goals from 2 XG, which is just like nobody does that. It does not happen over a career. If I start there, the reality is like, even if he's this guy, he's the 8 and 10 guy every season, which like he's probably not the 8 and 10 guy every season. That's still not worth the fee and the wages, because it's going to cost 80 million and he makes 150 grand a week. So you're going to have to make him 250 grand a week and pay 80 million. There's just no world where that's worth that. Like 8 and 10 and 35 90s is just like, that's, I don't know. You're like Pedro Neto who plays every single game. Elliot Sherman says, don't you need 500 shots to narrow the error bars around the finishing estimate? So it's not super helpful from a recruitment standpoint. Yes, yeah, it's very hard to have a strong degree of statistical confidence that someone is a positive finisher. And you are correct. By comparison, we can tell pretty quickly someone is a good passer. Yes, you can tell much quicker that someone is a plus passer in terms of executing passes. So all of this was to talk about Barcola, who somebody was like, well, Barcola is not a good finisher. And the place I get to with all of that is that I just don't care, because he is extremely productive. He's the right age profile. He doesn't play every game, so he's definitely gettable. Um, he, in 2 seasons, has been very productive. He was productive for Lyon at a very young age before that. He's been productive in Europe. He's been productive in the league. He can play both sides. Should, like, I don't know, some superstar left winger becomes available that wasn't available before, or one of your kid left wingers turns into an amazing player, like it, you can be flexible with that. Um, but I would go get Barcola, and I would pay a huge amount of money for that privilege to do so. And that's my guy. And now the the most fun profile to think about here is, what do I do at striker? What do I do at striker? And you know, there's a couple things you could do. Harry Kane has a release clause, but I think that's something that would age very poorly. I think like it wouldn't happen, but he's very good. I think it would help a lot. CFCSG says, why not Vinicius? I think the reason I don't like Vinicius is that he is a much worse defender than Barcola. He makes a tremendous amount of money, to the point that like it's a non-starter to do the deal. He puts up similar but a little bit less. He is also trending the wrong direction 3 years in a row. And there's just a whole lot around him that I'm like, I don't want a part of this. I don't want a part of this. And like, I think he's a much more difficult get than Barcola, who you can say like, no, you're our guy. You're the star left winger every single game. So like, if we go look, and we go look at all the guys, and we say we want the best strikers in the world. So I'll pull them up. I'll pull up Lautaro. I'll pull up Ekitike. I think Ekitike, not getting Ekitike this summer, I think is one that will age very poorly for us. But we go get the best guys, right? If I go competitions, top 5 leagues combined, and I go standard stats, and we get all the guys. We get all the best guys, right? Holland, Mbappe, Kane, Aubameyang, very high. Lewandowski, by the way, like would not hate as like a 1 year ultra depth option thing. What did I sort by? No, I just want to sort by non-penalty expected goals. I don't care about these guys who pass the ball. Burkhardt, Torres, Gift Orban popping off in Serie A again. Terem Mofi, people have liked in the past, but low minutes. Kane, very nice. Lautaro, very nice. Undav. The guy that I want is not on this list. And the reason he's not on this list is because we're getting the guy. We are getting the guy who's playing in Turkey, who just scores so many goals, and he that's all he does. He just takes 7 shots a game, and he scores a boatload of goals. And I don't know what the fee would be. I don't know what the number would be. I don't know what the wages would be. He's 75 million. What did Galatasaray pay for him? 75. We'll pay 80. and we'll pay him the full freight. We'll have full freight, right? Like if I go back to if I go to Napoli and go look at his time at Napoli, what he was making. So if I go wages, is he gonna be? No, he's gonna be on the previous season. And I go wages. And I go previous season. Here we go, wages. And I go Victor Osimhen. That says 13 million. I don't believe you. I'm gonna say we're paying him 16 million a year. I'm gonna say 18 million a year. And we end up at 235. And so what I'll say to you here is, so cumulatively, I cleared 50 million off the wage budget, right? I cleared 50 million off the wage budget. I added 20, 30, 40, about 50 million back on the wage budget. So the wage budget's not even going to be bad. And I spent like 300 million, 400 million, a little bit less, 330. So I didn't even need this whole budget. You give me 100 million budget and I'm there. How much did I go over? There you go. 25 million budget. I'm in. So that's my window. And now I like, Director Kieran is probably going to do 3 or 4 like random deals, like that Manzambi guy and some of the random little names that popped up. And then I'm going to look and say like, okay, now I have like, let me do a version of this again. My right back is the same, my center back is the same, my left back is the same. I have Moya Tchouameni, I have Enzo, I have I'm just gonna put Suchich here. I have Andre, I have Palmer, I have JP, I have all those guys. And I have like a real squad of guys that I'm happy to play, who can play in a bunch of spots. And now it's like, okay, do I want to do something else? Like now maybe we can talk about, do I want to go get a left back, right? Like, do I want to go get Arthur Theet, who has popped on my data all the time, if I want someone who's going to play left back, can be left back in a 3, can play cover? Do I go get a Kouliarakis? Do I want to be sick and go get Schlotterbeck to do some sicko stuff? Like, it opens up a lot of doors for me, right? Where I can do very different things now if I want to go get a left back. And so, like Elliot Sherman says, taking a step back, can the squad get it done on a rainy night in Stoke? You tell me. Adam Reagan says, Isak broken leg. Oh. Really? Is it really a Isak broken leg? It was a really bad tackle. Anyways, I think you look at this team and like, you have legit goals across the front. Like, you have latest Ornstein tweet. Ornstein Twitter. Suspected broken leg. Ooh. Well, that's probably his season done. But now, like, I want you to think about this from like a perspective here. You have 3 legit strikers for every single game. Every single game. You can start one. You can bring one off the bench every single game. They run at hard legs. You can play 2 together. You can play Jackson out wide every now and then if you want to do that. You have, between Palmer and Estevao, 2 legit, super legit wingers. You have Garnacho. You have Kenda, can play both sides. Like, you have a lot of shots in this front 3. And then you just have like dogs in midfield. Like, you're getting, between Enzo, Sucic, Andre, maybe Palmer every now and then, like, you're getting real guys. Like, you're getting 6 shots a game from midfield. Like, to me, if I look at this, if I just think about this like the sum of its component parts from a shot getting perspective, like, you're getting 2 shots a game from the back 4 off of set pieces and like James plus Cucurella box rivals plus whatever. You're getting 3 shots a game. You're getting 6 shots a game from midfield, from Enzo, from Moy, from Tchouameni, from Sucic, from Andre. You're getting 6 shots a game. And then from this front 3, like, everybody here is minimum a 3 shot a game guy. Like, Palmer 3 shots a game, Estevao 3 shots a game, Garnacho 3 shots a game, Kenda, I don't know, Osimhen's going to be a 5 shot a game guy, Jackson 3 shots a game, Amiga 3 shots a game. Like, you're getting 9 shots from there. So now all of a sudden you're talking about a team who, for the last however many years, Chelsea have been, like, if I go to the Premier League here and I just go for squad and player stats shooting, like, shots per 90. Chelsea have been a 14 shot per game guy, a 14 shot per game team. All of a sudden they're like a 17, 18 shot per game team. And if you don't kill your defense to do that, you're talking about a team who is like, you're talking about a team who is now like, you're a third of a goal better instantly. So, like, that's a hugely improved attack, I think. Birth Media says, what happens if Sanchez gets an injury? I mean, like, whatever, you have somebody here, but if you want to change this to my nan on a free transfer, go for it. I don't care. Vasterart says Jackson and Amiga is overkill. Sell Jackson, keep João Pedro as the filler player. No, see, the thing now, you like, imagine you have João Pedro, who, instead of having to play 90 minutes every week, he can come on and like just chase and sprint and harry from winger 10, winger 9, like, as a sub, as an extra attacker. Like, this is a very, very real team. So we'll see. AP says, what about going back in time to get Samu? Yeah, Samu would be fun. Back in time for sure. So we'll see. And like, whatever, you could upgrade, like, you could probably upgrade on Trev and Benoit. You definitely could. Like, they're not the best players in the world. You definitely could. But like Lord Flacco says here, we just sub on 4 strikers on the pitch when we play Burnley. What are they going to do? Seb has this thing. Seb Chapuis says this thing about how, like, Sir Alex Ferguson and Eddie Howe just stuff their team full of strikers. They just get as many strikers on the pitch as they can. And I don't think that's necessarily true, but I do think one of the things that is valuable is, like, how many guys who score goals can you get on the pitch without disrupting everything else? And so to me, it's like, can I just get a bunch of guys who get 4 or 5 goals a year, or 4 or 5 extra goals a year in so many different spots and do whatever I want? So we'll see. I'd still love Ekatike. But again, is any of this going to happen? No. If we did even like one of these, I'd be happy. but we won't do any of them. So it is what it is. That's my big. If Kieran was the guy, that's what I would do. That is what I would do. So we'll see. We will see. All right. You have seen my window now, Director Kieran. Do I get the job over Winstanley and Stewart? This is my window. Do I get this? By the way, in terms of Chelsea's A list for UEFA, we could not do this. There is a 0%. We could not register like even one of these guys. There's no world like most of these guys would not play center back, or most of these guys would not play Champions League. They would not. They would not be able to be registered. Winning Evil says, "Where's the random South American for 15 million?" Oh, I have enough budget here that like I'd have 3 or 4 random kid buys for sure. But this is like, yeah, this is what I would do. I will say in my FM save, the first window I did one midfielder and I did Hayden Hackney. That was the only player I signed the first window, just as like squad depth. But that's it. James Ransone, dead at 46. I don't know who James Ransone is. I do recognize this guy. Oh, he's the Wire guy. Yeah. Well, that's sad. 46 is not old. Yeah. All right. That's my team. Okay. We did. So I'm not going to lie to you. I didn't realize we've been going for 2 hours and 20 minutes. So we haven't had a pastry update. We haven't had anything here. So we're there. So we can talk for a little bit. Can you show us our football manager save? No, I don't want to. I don't feel like opening it up. But I'm winning the league, but like I've not really done anything. I've only played half of a season because he said, "Have you gotten adjusted?" I don't like it. I'm not. Just like I feel like I have to try so much harder to do the same things I want to do, as before. Like if you gave me, if I could have FM24 and they change nothing, but they like improve the match engine and update the squads every year, I would pay $30 a year for that for sure. And I think the thing that I want the most is I want a start today mode. So in NBA 2K, they have a thing called Start Today, where you can start a career mode and the standings look how they are, the teams are how they are, all the games are how they are. It's exactly today. And so you can play like all these fun situations. And there are mods to do that for FM, but I just want it to be built in to it, which is annoying. So we'll see. And yeah, so that's what I think. The window we had this summer was horrendous. Only Jean Pedro looks like a good signing. I think Garnacho, I think, is a good signing in there too. Jeremy Jacquet and Schlotterbeck for center back to upgrade. Yeah, I think people like Jacquet and I like Schlotterbeck a lot. Drake says, "Do you think Chelsea bring anyone in January?" No, I don't. I don't think. I don't think that they will. Maybe Omega. I think maybe Omega comes in. But that's the only one that I'm like, you maybe have that one happen. Io says, how many points extra do you think if we didn't do Jackson for Delap? So let me cheat a little bit. So let me cheat and just like do a rough version of this. So Delap has like not really played, right? Mostly because of injury. So I'm gonna say that Jackson has played 12 90s because João Pedro still would have played a bunch, but let's say he played 12 90s. So if we look for last season, because this has not been updated, Delap was. Let's see what Delap was. Delap was negative 0.04 goal difference per 90. And Jackson, Nicholas Jackson. So 0.15 goal difference per 90. They're like a 3 goal difference of the season. So, probably 3 points. Something like that. 2 points. I mean, it's hard to estimate like what are the knock-on effects of, does João Pedro play better because he's less redlined? Does Cole Palmer miss fewer games to injury because João Pedro can play as a 10 because Jackson is still there? Does Jackson's passing create more value for the wingers? Like, I think 3 points is probably a good estimate. Something like that. Like, I think over a season, Jackson is probably 6 points. 6 points better. So Jackson scored 1 Prem goal in 2025 Beast Mode. Well, listen, Jackson has as many goals as João Pedro and Delap combined, I believe. So, and he's at AFCON. If he comes back from AFCON and that's the same stat, I will be tweeting it, and it will be very funny. So, we'll see. Do I have any more hope in Sonia turning around CFCW? I'm out on CFCW. I think they're going to lose the league this year, and I think that's fine. I think it's okay. It happens. It's very unlikely you win the league 7 years in a row. I just hope they take the opportunity to turn over some of the less reliable members of their group and improve in areas they need to improve, particularly the fact that they have like nobody who creates shots at a really high level for themselves. And of the players who do, they are all eternally broken and cannot play like ever. Like it is insane to me. Like Macario has not really played in December because she doesn't play football matches after returning from her injury. She doesn't. Sam Kerr's taken 2 full seasons to come back from her ACL. Like, it's crazy. So, we'll see what happens. Yeah, Guro was like exceptionally productive for a long time, but she's just like, when I say players that you probably need to move on from, like Guro, Millie, Hamano, like some of the young players that just like didn't quite work out. Canarid, like Canarid is so non-productive for a team against such like who has so much dominance in the league. I don't understand. She scored a hat trick today and they won 9-1. So like great for her, I guess. But yeah, I don't like to me it's very alarming when Captain and Nuskin are way more productive than any single winger. Like that's crazy. I don't know why I said winger. Like winger. That's crazy to me. other ones, let me pull up a pastry update. Let me pull up a pastry update. They had... I gotta find the right pictures. Because they had some special Christmas ones, and I didn't take pictures of it because I'm a dummy. Okay. I had one of these. Where's my OBS? I had one of these yesterday. It's like they call it a pen suisse. It was very delicious. I picked up 4 because I went to a dinner party yesterday. So I had, for myself in the morning, I had one of these. And then I also picked up a savory Danish with, so the last savory Danish I shared with you was a French onion soup Danish. They had a whipped goat cheese, stewed tomatoes, and balsamic. Scandalous. So it was like, you had this like, they were like not, it wasn't wet though. And I was like, it's stewed tomatoes, but it's not wet. And I didn't understand how. And an almond, a bear claw, which is like, it's like an almond. It kind of looks like an almond croissant, but then it was filled with peaches, which is very delicious. And then a salted chocolate chip cookie. That was everything I picked up yesterday from there. I will say, I don't know if Fuzzbrain is still here. I think Fuzzbrain said they're coming to Reno for the Christmas period. Please let me know. Fuzzbrain, if you come to Reno for New Year's, I will go to Beloved's and I will buy you a pastry and I will pay for it before I leave for my trip. And I will have it there for you so you can go and attest to people on stream for it. I will buy a gift card and I will leave it there for you. So you can taste the glory of the pastry. So Fuzzbrain, if you are still here or if you listen back to this, feel free to shoot me a DM and I will put that together. Yeah, I don't know. It is what it is. ZZZ will never forget the 5 minutes on stream you thought Sam Kerr had signed for Liverpool. Yeah, wouldn't that be crazy? That was funny. Okay, we're at 2.5 hours. We'll go 15 more minutes. Give me your last questions and we'll talk about whatever. We'll talk about whatever for the last 15 minutes. But this was a fun Director Kieran window. I'll come back to this in the summer and see how I feel about this. You could I think this is a very reasonable window. I mean, it's a very Football Manager window, but why not? Do I think we would win the Premier League or Champions League with ownership or directors in the next 3 to 4 years? I would bet 25% chance that we win one of those in the next 4 years. Yeah, 25% chance that over cumulatively over the next 4 years, we win one of them. Yeah, I'll say I'll say 1 in 3, 33%. I think we have a lot of good young players, and like, if you kind of just get out of their way, they'll improve enough that if you're not too stupid, we'll be good. Yeah, 1 in 3, I'd say that we'll win one over those 4 seasons. Something like that. What do I think about Calafiori as a player? I really like Calafiori. He's like very physically talented. He carries the ball quite well. He gives you a lot of attacking output from fullback, which I think is valuable. He's got a lot of size for left back. He can play center back if you need it. Like, I think there's a lot to like about Calafiori. I think they probably overpaid a little bit, but I think he's a good, like, legit good, useful player for them. I think he's good. Am I Cesc Fabregas curious? I'm curious. Like, I think I put. Let me go to my Twitter. I tweet too frequently, so I gotta go find it. This was my long list of managers. No, I don't want Grok to explain my post. Slot, Alonso, Ferrioli, De Zerbi, Honus, Hertzler, Fabregas, Rossinier, Nagelsmann, Tuchel, Iraola, Glasner, Valverde, McKenna, Lampard. That's my long list of managers that I'm like, if we were moving on from Maresca, I would be having my analysts look into them and I'd be thinking about calling. I think some of these guys are like fairly non-negotiable no's. Like, I think De Zerbi culturally is not happening. I think Tuchel would not happen. So, like, you can put that aside. I think Valverde from Bilbao wouldn't happen. I think Lampard, given he's getting promoted, wouldn't come back. I think Hertzler is like probably not good enough. I think Honus is probably not good enough. I think Slot and Alonso are probably not available and probably wouldn't come. So now your list is like Ferrioli, Fabregas, Rossinier, Nagelsmann, Iraola, Glasner, McKenna, Lampard. McKenna. Iraola and Glasner, like, I just have too many questions about how they scale up to a team with the ball most of the time. McKenna is fairly interesting to me. I think Rossinier has too much haram ball tendencies for me, so I don't know. And then Fabregas, I think, again, like, haven't seen him do it at a place where there's a lot of pressure. Like, he's an owner. Like, he's a part owner of the club he coaches. Like, it's just very unique. So I end up, like, Ferrioli and McKenna probably as, like, the two, just quickly whittling down. So we'll see. Vince Zorro says reinforcing the assistant coaching staff would be better than sacking Maresca. I actually largely agree that Chelsea could do a much better job of like adding to Maresca's staff with like real coaches, not just guys he knows. I think the thing that like Pep and Klopp and Mourinho and Sir Alex and Arsene Wenger did to make themselves good for a long time, and Mourinho the least of all of those, is they added assistants who had new ideas to bring to their group. And I actually quite like that as a show, that I think you could add a lot of stuff. ZZZ says, as someone who is 1/16th Indonesian, I've got to ask about John Herdman's appointment for the men's national team. Do you think he's a good fit? There's a lot of pressure with the Indonesia job, so I do worry for him. So Herdman, for those who don't know, John Herdman was the coach of Canada, both the women's team and then the men's team for a long time. Herdman is like a good culture builder. Like he's a pretty good program builder of like getting players to care about playing for their country. The women's team were very successful under him, and the men's team were also very successful, probably the best they've ever been under him. They're better now, but the best they'd ever been at the time under him. I think he's like not a very good coach, in my opinion. I've got to watch him do a lot of sessions. And I've gotten to talk to him like quite a bit over the years. I don't think he's a very good coach, but like I cannot imagine the list of people that the Indonesian national team can appoint is amazing. So like if you have a lot of dual nationals, he's very good at recruiting dual nationals. So all those like Dutch Indonesian guys, he will probably do a pretty good job of bringing them in to your country. Did I see the situation with Fabregas and Diao? It was so stupid. Yeah, a lot of people do kind of dumb stuff around AFCON. Did you talk about Elliot Anderson? Yeah, Elliot Anderson is probably also on the list of 8s to look at. There's a lot of passing there. There's a lot of ball winning there. He probably skews more the Chouameni one than the 8 one. I think ultimately he's going to be way too expensive if Forest stay up. But he would definitely, I would definitely put him in the list for these two roles. Nwaneri could be a backup candidate for the 8. I do not agree really at all. Nwaneri, most of his minutes have been as a right winger when he's played last season. And I also don't think he's like even close to really ready to contribute regularly for Chelsea. So we will see. How much of a step back would a managerial change be in terms of lack of continuity of ideas, training, performance, etc., etc.? Well, the person could be better. It could be a step forward. But I think Chelsea are coming to a weird place where, let's say Chelsea put up 63 points this year and come 5th. I don't know what they do at manager, because there's clearly enough tension between the directors and the manager that that's not a hunky-dory situation anymore, that you can say no, we just keep building, and now you can do a full preseason with normal guys and everybody's fit, and that's sure. But I think I am still in the place that I would not fire him this summer. If Chelsea finished low 60 points totals, they made a Carabao semifinal. You make a Carabao final. But if you come 5th, if Chelsea come 5th on 63 points, they make the Champions League quarterfinal and lose, and they make the Carabao and FA Cup semifinals, I probably don't fire him. I probably don't. Winning Evil says, win a domestic cup, come 5th, Champions League quarters. If he wins a cup and comes 5th, he stays 1,000%. Unless he gets knocked out in the round of 16 to a nobody, I think there's no chance he gets let go in the summer if he wins a trophy. Because then if you look at it, and again, they've said we're looking at it as 2 years as one big year for performance review. Then if you take it, they are the 4th or 5th best team. They won the Conference League. They won the Club World Cup. They won a cup, Champions League knockouts, qualify for Champions League football twice. I think it's very difficult to fire him in that circumstances. The number of managers who get fired when their team is consistently making Champions League is very low. Very low. Roman era Chelsea are basically the only team who've done that. It's when you drop and come outside of it. ZZZ says the more interesting question, I think, which is he wins both cups but comes 7th, which I don't think will happen. I think they would fire him. If he won both cups and came 7th, I think they would fire him. And they would say that's not the point of this. It's to make Champions League. And I think financially that would be a pretty big problem. So we'll see. Okay. I'm gonna wrap it up there. I will record a pod episode. I probably won't. I'll probably just put this out because it is what it is. And there will be. I am trying to figure out something while I'm away. Whether it's just a short recording, I don't know. But we'll figure out. There will either be something or there will be nothing until January 4th. But we'll see. Follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky and whatever, and I'll say, I'm sure I'll be talking about the games, but Villa I will be there. Bournemouth I will be there. And yeah, I'll be around. And if you're there, feel free to send me a message, and maybe we can grab a pint before a game or something. Anyways, that is all from me. As always, enjoy the soccer.